The Gospel of Matthew. Building to withstand the storms. Matthew 7:24-27. Introduction. 1. 1998 was quite a year for natural disasters in the state of Florida. A. There were killer tornadoes, devastating fires, destructive hurricanes. B. Impacting the lives of many people. 2. Such disasters proved to reveal much about contractors. A. We learned that some builders were unscrupulous. B. Failing to build according to code, many homes and buildings were destroyed. 3. Jesus made a parallel between storms and buildings at the end of his sermon. Matthew 7:24-27. A. As he sought to encourage people to act upon his sayings. B. Contrasting the difference between those who were doers and not just listeners. 4. In this lesson, I wish to address the following questions. A. What do the houses of the wise and foolish builders represent? B. What storms is Jesus talking about? C. How can we build so as to be able to withstand the storms? Everyone therefore who hears these words of mine, and does them, I will liken him to a wise man, who built his house on a rock. The rain came down, the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat on that house. And it didn't fall, for it was founded on the rock. Matthew 7:24-25. Everyone who hears these words of mine, and doesn't do them will be like a foolish man, who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat on that house. And it fell, and great was its fall. Matthew 7:26-27. 1. The houses represent our lives. A. Each of us is building a life. 1. A life that will eventually face the vicissitudes of life. 2. A life that will respond to the many ups and downs that come our way. B. We are building these lives upon a foundation. 1. The foundation is whatever teaching, doctrine, or philosophy to which we subscribe. 2. It may be a philosophy or doctrine adopted from others, or developed ourselves. 2. The storms are things which threaten our well-being. A. This may involve literal storms. 1. Such as tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, etc. 2. Which may take away all we own, perhaps even our loved ones. 3. How we respond to such tragedies will reveal the quality of our building. A. Will we be emotionally devastated? B. Will we be able to stand strong, willing to continue on without despair? B. It may also involve figurative storms. 1. Such as illness, loss of loved ones, financial setbacks. 2. Which may take away our health, family, possessions. 3. Again, how we respond to such tragedies will reveal the quality of our building. A. Will we be emotionally devastated? B. Will we be able to stand strong, willing to continue on without despair? C. Then there is the final storm of life. 1. That of death and the final day of judgment. Hebrews 9:27. Romans 2:4-6. 2. Which will be the truest test of our building, character. 2 Corinthians 5:10-11. 3. The Lord will describe the kind of builder or servant we have been. A. Well done, good and faithful servant. Matthew 25:21. B. You wicked and lazy servant. Matthew 25:26. 3. Obeying Jesus is the key to withstanding the storms. A. Being a hearer only is not sufficient. 1. Such is foolishness, building on a shaky foundation that will not stand the test of storms. Matthew 7:26-27. 2. As James wrote, one is deceiving only themselves. James 1:22-24. 3. Like the unscrupulous contractor, the storm will reveal the true quality of one's character. 4. As Moses said, your sin will find you out. Numbers 32:23. B. We must do what Jesus says. 1. Those who do what Jesus said will be those who withstand the storms. Matthew 7:24-25. 2. Because their lives, houses are built upon the rock, a solid foundation. 3. As James went on to write, it is the doer who is blessed in what he does. James 1:25. C. How the sayings of Jesus help us withstand the storms. 1. His saying regarding where to lay up treasure. Matthew 6:19-21. A. In which we are told to lay up treasure in heaven, not on earth. B. If we heed his words, our hearts will not be distraught if earthly treasures are stolen or lost. 2. His saying regarding what to seek first. Matthew 6:33. A. Calling upon all to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. B. By heeding his words, we need not have anxiety for the future. 3. Indeed, his sayings provide the basis for a solid foundation in which to build a life. A. That will avoid being misled by false prophets. Matthew 7:15-20. B. That will stay on the straight and narrow way that leads to life. Matthew 7:13-14. C. That will fulfill the law and the prophets. Matthew 7:12. D. That will receive what good gifts God desires to give his children. Matthew 7:7-11. E. That will not be judged by some inconsistent standard. Matthew 7:1-6. F. Where the necessities of life are provided for. Matthew 6:30-34. G. Free from materialism and anxiety. Matthew 6:22-29. H. With treasure that cannot rust or be stolen. Matthew 6:19-21. I. With acts of righteousness that are well-pleasing to God. Matthew 6:1-18J. With righteousness that surpasses that of the scribes and Pharisees. Matthew 5:20-48. Conclusion. 1. Yes, this is a life that can truly withstand the storms. A. Whether it be the literal or figurative storms of everyday life. B. Or the storm of the day of wrath and judgment that is yet to come. 2. What kind of foundation are you building your house, life upon? A. Heed what Jesus is saying, and your life will be solid. B. Be listeners only, and your life will be as shaky as sand. Just as Jesus is the rock-solid foundation of the church. 1 Corinthians 3:11. Ephesians 2:20. 1 Peter 2:4-6. So let him be the rock, solid foundation of your life. The end. The Gospel of Matthew. Building to withstand the storms. Matthew 7:24-27.